we had no answer for them at all in terms of stopping them. We couldn't really play anything that they did. We had trouble with their post-ups one-on-one. We had trouble with their perimeter guys breaking us down on the dribble. We struggled with their pick and rolls. I mean, their perimeter guys particularly hurt us, but it's not like we were great on the other guys either. So, especially in the middle two quarters, but really pretty much the game, we just didn't have any defensive answers. And other than Dwight and then Jameer in the third quarter, we didn't. I didn't think we were able to get very good shots. You know, Dwight was dominant. I mean, other than the 8 turnovers, he was dominant inside, but we really just didn't have much else going on. Jameer got going on pick and rolls in the third quarter, but you know, outside of those two guys, clearly, I mean, we were 8 for 34. We struggled, and you know, my focus right now is on me and my game plan. I mean, I got to do a better job in my estimation. I mean, I've got to find a way, you know, that we can guard them more effectively, and we've got to find some answers on the offensive end of the floor to get some of these other guys going too. So, you know, I'm not coming in here angry at players who had bad games or anything else. I mean, I'm disappointed in what I did in my role in this, game plan wise and everything else, and I want to get to the film as soon as I can and get back to work. I got to do a better job.
Yeah, the series during the regular season was played mostly in the 80s. Were you surprised that they were that efficient offensively?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised by much of anything. I was, you know, I mean, they played extremely well. I mean, I was disappointed, obviously, in our inability to guard them. I wouldn't say I was surprised. I mean, we know that those guys are good players, and you know, they had very good days. I thought we're obviously, you know, you're not going to stop everybody every night, but you know, we really were not able. You know, their 5 key guys, we didn't do a good job on any of them. So we got to make some adjustments there, you know, and decide on a better way to play those guys.
Stan, what did you see as to why everybody but Dwight and Jameer struggled offensively? Was it the way Atlanta was playing them?
Well, I mean, I think, look, they played Dwight pretty much one-on-one, and so, you know, he scored a lot of points, but, you know, they're not going to come off and open up shots for other people, and really the same thing on Jameer's pick and rolls. I mean, they sort of leave the guard on his own, a little bit of help from the big guy, and, you know, he can get shots, but people aren't coming off of them, and that's why I'm saying, you know, we've got to try to find a way to get those other guys into the game a little bit more. I mean, clearly, though, they've got to make the shots that they get. We can't do anything about that, but we've got to try to get them into the game a little bit more. We're not going to do it with 2 guys. But with that being said, you know, other than the turnovers, which have been a major problem, and we've got to cut those down. I mean, I would have thought going in that, you know, 93 points, 45%, we should have at least been right there in the game. I mean, the primary problem is, you know, we couldn't guard them at all.
Stan, Coach Drew had said that you'd seen it before when one guy gets out to a dominant start and one guy is kind of dominating the game. The other guys sometimes can't get going. Do you think that was the case at the floor?
Well, I mean, it could be, but again, I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with them scoring 103 points and shooting over 50%. I mean, you know, I understand everybody will focus on the number part and everybody else, but I mean, if we need to score 104 or 105 to win every night, we're going to struggle. I mean, our defense has got to be a lot better. I mean, I'm being honest, we need to make some offensive adjustments to try to get those guys going, but look, I mean, if all 5 of their guys are going to shoot 50% or better and score what they score, we're not going to beat them. I mean, that's just, our guys have to know that, and that's the way it is. I mean, if we can't get them under control a little bit at the other end, we got no chance to win. We've got to defend.
I mean,
should the other guy touch the ball more?
Again, Brian, I mean, you're going to keep focusing on the offense, and I'm telling you the problem's on the defensive end. So you can focus on the offense all you want, and we certainly will too. I'm not saying that our offense was real good, you know, but we should have been right there in the game. Turnovers hurt us, but 93 points, 45, we should be okay, but not with what we're giving up at the other end.
Stan, something certainly went according to plan. You had one foul in the entire first half. How do you think you handled the second half and your thought process with leading and obviously behind?
Well, there wasn't even a decision leaving him in. I mean, that was, you know, look, we're down 15 points. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, at that point, you know, take him out for 3 minutes and try to make you run later in the game. I mean, that was an easy decision. If it's a 6-point game or something, it might be a tough decision. But where the game was, that was an easy decision. So yeah, I thought he handled it fine. You know, I didn't think that was a problem. You know, I thought the back-to-back 3-second calls and stuff at one stretch, he got a little frustrated, but he gathered himself. He gathered himself pretty well on that. That wasn't the problem. Again, I mean, we're focusing on a lot of things that, to me, the things that need to be focused on are 103 points and them shooting over 50%. I mean, that's, you know, you can focus on everything else all you want, and the turnovers a little bit, but those are the 3 areas. And we're giving up too many points and too high a percentage and turning the ball over too much.
It seemed as if you were tinkering with Q on Joe Johnson and then kind of went away from it at the end. Is that something you'll look at moving forward?
Well, I didn't think, I mean, we got to find somebody that can guard him a little bit, but the issue with Q was, you know, more at the offensive end. He had those 2, I thought, just really, really bad turnovers. You know, and you get behind and you're sort of forced into, you know, you need some offense on the floor. We went small. We tried to put our better shooters out there. We got some shots at that point, but we didn't knock them down. But we were in a big hole. And so, you know, when you're playing from behind the entire second half, and really from halfway through the second quarter, things get a lot more difficult.
Coach, you mentioned that you need to find a way to guard the Hawks more effectively and use the problems on defense chiefly. Of all publications, the New Yorker actually republished an article essentially advocating for a non-stop full-court press. Are you considering putting more, I guess, pressure on them in the backcourt in Game 2?
No.
Thanks.
Josh, you got one more? Yes. And how did you play? And what do you see?
Well, I mean, you know, I thought he moved okay and stuff. I mean, you know, we didn't play him a lot of minutes. Tough matchups out there for him. You know, we played him when we got behind, but, you know, it's tough. I mean, it's Joe Johnson, Marvin Williams, Josh Smith at the 2 and 3. I mean, you know, and that's one of the problems we've got to work out with this team is they're a lot bigger, and our inability to guard them one-on-one, you know, we've got to find some answers for them.